So with our Revelations Easter egg ending cutscene, our Origins zombie storyline has come to a conclusion. However, there are a lot of unanswered questions. With that being said, if you guys have any questions about our zombie storyline you'd like to know the answers to, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to explain them in a future video. In today's video, I wanted to go ahead and take a look at the Revelations main Easter egg ending cutscene because something in this cutscene doesn't make sense to me. I wanted to go ahead and point something out within our storyline regarding Dr. Monty and our 4 characters, specifically about our 4 characters obtaining the blood vials. Hopefully you guys can provide some clarity for me because, as I said, I'm a little bit confused about something that occurred within this cutscene, and hopefully you guys can put your minds together and explain this a little bit better to me. Personally, I think that I have a pretty good general knowledge of our overall zombie storyline. I think I know a little bit more than a lot of people. However, with that being said, there are still other people within the community that know so much more about the storyline than I currently do. Hopefully you guys and possibly them could answer this question. Overall, with that long introduction, let's get into today's video talking about Dr. Monty, our 4 characters, and the blood vials within Revelations. So as you guys know, within our storyline, the blood vials are extremely significant because they allow our characters to exist in the Revelations dimension. However, you guys probably already know that ever since Origins back on Black Ops 2 in 1917 in northern France, Richtofen has had the blood vials. Richtofen collected the blood vials of the 2 Mob of the Dead characters, Salvador De Luca and Finn O'Leary, their prison identification numbers clearly pasted on the sides of the blood. Now, when we first saw these blood vials back on Origins, we didn't understand how significant and how important of a role they would play in the future of our zombie storyline. All we knew is that they were the blood vials of the 2 Mob of the Dead characters. Progress a little bit to Black Ops 3 zombies, our characters complete the events of the Giant, Der Eisendrache, and then they go to Zetsubo no Shima. By the end of the Zetsubo no Shima Easter egg ending cutscene, Dempsey says, 3 down, 1 to go. Guess it's you next, Nikolai. Then Richtofen interrupts him and says that there is something they must do. A chain of events must be set in motion.
3 down, 1 to go. Guess it's you next, Nikolai.
Nein, there is something else we must do. There is a chain of events that must be set in motion.
Our characters travel to an unknown location, and when they return to the Division 9 facility at Zetsubo no Shima, the other 3 characters, Nikolai, Dempsey, and Takio, have blood vials as well. Now, the chain of events that needed to be set in motion, as explained by Richtofen, was having the other 3 characters collect the blood vials. However, this is where it gets interesting. As I said before, and as you guys already know by now, Richtofen has had the blood vials from the Mob of the Dead characters ever since Origins, and it's interesting because Richtofen has known ever since Origins that the blood vials will be needed at a later portion in time within our storyline. However, it wasn't until the Zetsubo no Shima Easter egg, when our characters collect the soul of Takio 1.0, that Richtofen tells the other 3 characters that a chain of events needs to be set in motion and that the other 3 characters need to collect the blood vials. As I said, it's currently unknown as to how Richtofen knew that the characters would need the blood vials. A possible theory is that our characters are stuck in an infinite loop or an endless cycle, continuously collecting the blood vials, getting sent to our Primis location by Dr. Monty that we saw at the Revelations Easter egg ending cutscene. So that's a theory as to why our characters, or at least why Richtofen knew to collect the blood vials, and this is where it gets even more interesting. So we progress to Revelations. We later find out that the significance behind the blood vials and the reason why our characters collected them is because the blood vials served as an insurance policy. The blood vials were collected from realities that were completely closed off, and by having an item from a closed reality, it created a paradox in our timeline. This allows our characters to remain in the Revelations dimension and not fade out of existence after completing the Easter egg. Dr. Monty clearly explains this.
You should be fading out of existence by now. Those blood vials. I was wondering when you'd bring this up. They're from realities we've already closed off. They shouldn't be here. They can't be here. Such a paradox means you're putting my perfect world at risk. You guys and your bloody free will. What to do? What to do? Well, you certainly can't stay here. You could send us somewhere else. Somewhere we've never been. I suppose I could make a little corner somewhere in history. A place where I can dump some of the other shit that I've left over. Or I just wipe you from existence. Ooh, hang on. Actually, that all works out perfectly.
So of course, the blood vials allowed our characters to stay in existence, but the thing that I don't understand, and hopefully you guys can provide some clarity and allow me to better understand this, is that Dr. Monty was so distraught and so annoyed with the fact that the characters had collected these blood vials from a closed reality, creating a paradox within his timeline, putting his perfect world at risk, and the reason why our characters had these blood vials was to ensure that they did not fade out of existence. However, Dr. Monty says that he could just wipe them out of existence.
I suppose I could make a little corner somewhere in history. A place where I can dump some of the other shit that I've left over. Or I just wipe you from existence.
So this is why I'm getting a little bit confused, and if you guys aren't picking it up by now, I'll go ahead and lay it down for you. Our characters have collected the blood vials from closed realities as an insurance policy, which creates a paradox in our timeline, allowing our characters to exist in our Revelations dimension. However, Dr. Monty explains that having the blood vials puts his perfect world at risk, and the reason why our characters collected those blood vials is to exist in this perfect dimension. However, Dr. Monty still has the power to cause our characters to fade out of existence. We clearly see this within our Revelations Easter egg ending. Dr. Monty has the power to either cause our 4 characters to fade out of existence, or he has the power to transfer them to a different corner of history, which of course is our Primis timeline. So, the question I have with all of that being said is, why did our characters collect the blood vials? Of course, I know that they did it to use it as an insurance policy and create a paradox in our timeline to allow them to exist in the Revelations dimension. However, Dr. Monty has clearly demonstrated the power to wipe our characters from existence, even though the reason behind obtaining the blood vials was to allow the characters to not fade out of existence. Dr. Monty has clearly shown he has divine power, allowing him to either completely wipe individuals from existence or transfer them to a different corner of history within our timeline. There may be a very simple answer to this. I'm just a little bit confused and a little bit lost. Hopefully you guys can provide some clarity for me. Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to drop a like down below, subscribe if you're new, and with that being said, I'll be sure to catch you guys later.